Hey y'all, I'm back. Um, as always, I'm gonna sit here and chill for a minute in the beginning before I start doing anything. Make sure. Oh, there's a leaf in the way of the camera. House plant around my monitor. Sometimes it gets overzealous and gets in front of the camera. Moment. Just hanging out, waiting to see if anyone else wants to come in and join. We're gonna be working on the three-spoke wheels again. I'm trying to remember how I set up this. I set up the sound. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Alright. Should be maybe the last stream for the three-spoke wheels. Depends on what Zerg and I decide after this. But I think they're getting pretty close. He might want something different because I kind of just like went off on my own kind of route for this, just kind of going with the initial vibe of what he has requested. Okay, so it looks like we're live on YouTube. And we are live on Instagram. We are live on Twitch. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Let's see. What can we do while we kill some time? Switch back to the main camera screen. Trying to like show off some other creative agencies or related things at the beginning of the stream. While we wait for maybe people to come watch. This is a company I saw recently that really cool. Looks like all their wheels are CNC machined out of magnesium, which is insane. I don't even want to know the price that they're charging for these things. But really cool, creative designs. I love how everything on Instagram just looks like shit all the time. Like, how is this blurry? It's not even taking up the full screen. I feel like in 2026 we're just like gonna be forced to just deal with everything on the internet just being terrible. Like image quality, terrible. Streaming video quality, terrible. Like we were watching some show on HBO the other night with on internet that has like 700, 800 megabyte a second downloads, and like it could barely run an HBO show. Like it was downsampling down to like really terrible quality. And like that's just what we're forced to deal with now, just because we've given up physical media, we've given up downloading, even just downloading our music and downloading our movies and shows. And then all of our images are on Instagram and they're downsampled to be blurry and terrible quality. Like this company sells like $20,000 wheels or something. And then you go on their Instagram and you can't even read the text almost because the images are just pixelated to shit just from Instagram. But I like their I like these. I might try to do a render kind of like these at the end of this stream. I'm assuming this is just like really crazy depth of field where it's just focusing on like one spoke, but it's kind of like a boudoir like sexy photo shoot for a wheel, which I don't know, it's kind of cool. These are some cool renders though. And they've got these like fun engineering drawing kind of like scanner glitch looking things. You could probably make something like this like by dragging something across a scanner while you're scanning it or something. I don't know, they probably made it in Photoshop, but pretty sweet. Cool company though, pretty cool. Is this on a, oh, never mind, I thought that was. Really fancy cars though. Rich people bullshit. Big face wheels are always fun. Got the big face wheels on the Nazi shed, that's pretty sweet. Cool company though. Looks like, let's see. Here's another cool company that I've been following for a little while. I never got to see this car when it came through Colorado a couple times, but they've got a really cool aesthetic. They've been editing like their car into like vintage photos and kind of like making up kind of like a alternate timeline history where like this car that they made was like taking part in all of these like events in the 70s and stuff, which is a really cool way of advertising their vehicles. They've been hyping their new car a lot. I'm trying to like go back to like their first car they made. This one. So they call it the half 11, and it's like, I don't even know at this point if it's even half a 911, but it's all hand rolled steel chassis. It's got a LS V8 in it, which you either love it or hate it, with this really cool like 8 to 4 to 8, I guess it's like an 8 to 2 exhaust with these 3D printed collectors here. But they drove this thing all over the country, which is pretty awesome, considering that thing is probably pretty hellish to drive a long distance. Just given what it looks like. It looks like someone took like an old 911 and just like ran it over with a steamroller, but in a good way. But they also have produced like a new supercar. And it's just like two dudes from California. They went to California College of Art, like every other car designer in the United States. Basically, to be a car designer, you have to go to California College of Arts. Like, even Hot Wheels car designers go to California College of Arts for car design, which is ridiculous. Like, almost every one of them. So if you want to design cars and you live here in the States, you have to go there. I applied back when I came out of high school, but I didn't get in because I had crazy ADHD and didn't have good grades through high school. Let's see, here's some like testing stuff of some, I guess this is other like carbon monocoque chassis. Um, but their new car here, um, pretty cool. Kind of like Porsche vibes, but just what kind of bespoke. I don't know, probably $500,000 to $1 million. Who knows? I feel like just these things are all just the prices of them just go insane because there's so many like wealth inequality between the everyone else and then the rich is just so huge that these rich people can just kind of like just drop $1 million on whatever they want whenever they want. But it allows people like this to design cool cars. So I guess that's one silver lining. But this thing is offered with a gas engine, and then there's also an option that is like an electric powertrain. They have a pretty cool like graphic design style as well. Here's another example of one of those just like insane bespoke cars that you have $1 million or 2 million. I don't know how much this thing costs. This one's even more expensive because this is like a designer who has designed. He worked on like the Koenigsegg Regera, I think it's called. He worked on the Bugatti design team on the Chiron, I think, and then started his own company, um, and just designed this completely unhinged car, um, which is pretty awesome, I will say. Um, like everything is just CNC machine. I'm trying to find a picture of the interior. Yeah, like just every little part of this thing is machined. Um, see the gear shifter there. This looks like a little safety over the reverse gear. Steering wheel looks like a CNC machine, like forged wheel for, putting tires on, but it's the steering wheel. Pretty ridiculous. Yeah, it says Clover's Rage says down with the bourgeois. As long as I can take out whoever buys one of these things and then I get this thing. I would run this thing into the ground though. You'd catch me like driving it over a fucking train track and then just dropping half the carbon splitter onto the ground as it just like splinters into the air. But I'd look really cool doing it. Here's just like the powertrain rendered in clear. Naturally aspirated V12 revving to 11,000 RPM, making over 1,000 horsepower with no turbo. Just like absolute crackhead shit. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I hate people that buy like ridiculous cars and then just like don't drive them. Like there's so many beautiful cars just like sitting in some like crusty ancient rich dude's basement that like never get driven again and just have like a plastic cover over it. And like they probably don't even start and run them. They like pay some other dude that's slightly less rich to go through and like start all their cars once a year to like make sure they don't like all the rubber seals don't break. It's like they don't even don't want to do it themselves. Dude, I could run over so many ice agents with this thing though. Am I allowed to say that? back is just so damn cool though, with these like ridiculous like LED taillight little kind of like separate little units in there, and like the center tri-spoke. Yeah, these taillights are nuts out. And like, I like the wheels, don't get me wrong, but I feel like I am a fan of a simple 5-spoke, but I don't know. I feel like they could have gone a little bit better with the wheels. Like the side cutting into the spokes, that's bougie, that's cool, because like the way those are cut in, like you probably need a 5-axis CNC machine to do that. So like no normal wheel manufacturer couldn't even make these wheels to get like those cuts to go through there, because like you can get kind of like some side profiling using like a ball end mill, or like a lollipop mill it's called, where it's just kind of like a ball shaped burr on the end of the CNC machine. So that's how they like they cut the kind of I-beam spokes, the like side profiling into the spokes. But like you need a 5-axis CNC machine, or like a 6-axis, or whatever the hell it is, to like actually have this cuts like through the spoke. But yeah, what the hell is even that? Like, God, to be able to like work on that design team, and they're just like, so I designed a $10,000 piece of metal that just holds the gauges, and they're like, sweet, send it. Fuck yeah. But sweet. All right. Well, that's enough yapping, I suppose. Do some work here. Sorry, I'm laughing because my boyfriend is informing me about the terms of service, and me insinuating about running over ice agents in a video game. In a video game, yes. Anywho, here we are. During the stream, if anyone has any suggestions on something better in terms of text to put onto these wheels, I don't know. I think I've used this before. I don't know if I'd ever made it onto a set of wheels, but I've used this phrase before for some sort of wheel design related thing. It's kind of, I don't know. I don't even remember where it came from, if I thought it up or if I saw it on something. Let's see, what can we say on there? Design. Red. Ellie. I'm just copying the word from this thing on the right. Oh, that's stupid, but just put whatever you want on it. Fuck it. Sorry, we're starting off with doing some silly stuff. That's real silly, but whatever. We'll do something different later. Okay, so what I wanted to do first is I've been looking at the render a lot yesterday. Whenever I'm doing these designs, I like to just like sit and look at the final render, like wherever I get to at the end of the day, and just kind of like look at it off and on and see like what thoughts pop into my head. And the thoughts that popped into my head are, other than things involving ice agents, are I want to make these less blocky, but I don't want it to be like kind of rounded and blobby like it was before. So I'm thinking like angling it like I've done a lot of the other things, kind of adding a sloping, making the side surfaces kind of sloping a little bit. Excuse me. But keeping like maybe this flat surface, or maybe having it kind of come up to a point I haven't. Oh gosh. Excuse me. I'm not used to talking so much throughout the day. I talk to myself as much as the next person, but I'm just sitting in my apartment all day, there's not a ton of talking. Now all of a sudden I'm talking for like 3 hours a day. The other thought I had was I noticed that this curve doesn't match this curve. You can see like if we're trying to create this kind of curving like thorn spike kind of shape, that this has like a nice curve to it, and this is almost a straight line. So I want to add a little bit of curve to that so that it flows, because like you can see how well these flow. And yeah. I want to get it to be more like that. So I think the fastest thing will be to adjust this. Alright, so I do like where this point is, so I'm going to fix that point. And I do like where the bottom is, so let's see if I can just... That's the sound it makes. Already getting better, although... I think I need to bring it... See, there's too many surfaces here. There are like too many segments in this, and you can see like where some of these other things meet, that it's more, there's less surface, less segments or whatever. So that to me means that this might end up looking kind of like lumpy or weird in the end. So I think that is because this is running into up there. So I said I liked where that was, but I think I need to adjust that down just a tiny bit. And we are going to just move that in very tiny increments. It's like, yeah, you can see I moved that and like it just like shit itself completely. Like, what the hell is even that? What the hell is even that? Like, and that's how much I moved it. That's hilarious. Alright, so we're back here, and then now we gotta see if we can get this thing to move without shitting itself. I'm gonna try and just move this entire shape down by like, God, I wish I could work in millimeters. We're gonna do it anyways. 1 millimeter. That is the nice thing about, one of the nice things about Solidworks is you could put, as long as you label the unit, you can use like millimeters in a like an inches kind of setting, or inches in a millimeter setting. You can see it down in the corner. I mean, you can't see it because it's tiny, but this is, the unit system is set in inches, pounds, seconds, versus like millimeters, kilograms, seconds. I don't know. But I can just type in mm and it will automatically convert. Boom, look at that. Oh, see, that's too far though. So now we don't have that point, but we're at least like, things are simplified a bit. So what we're gonna do is, let's see, we're gonna move it by like a really tiny thing. So let's move it by 0.01 inches. See what happens. Just kind of inch that down until those extra segments disappear. That was all we needed. Boom. Look at that. See, already that looks a lot less complex in terms of like how the program is like choosing to render these transitions, these curves, like the fillets, and like how these different shapes are meeting. So that will machine better, that will look better. Another thing I was thinking is, you could see, I don't know, maybe that looks good that way. I have thoughts about this kind of shape here and how it kind of like comes in and almost like the surface on the side almost disappears but doesn't, and it's not like kind of like a uniform shape, but we will leave it as is for now. Let's go back to focusing on this little thing right here. All right, and what we're gonna do, surface. Okay. That's not gonna work. Just kidding. We're not gonna do that. Let's see. I'm gonna make it a little bit wider so that there's room to add that like sloping side edge. We're gonna do it real slowly because, let's see, 10 degrees. Look at that. That's pretty sweet. All right, I like that. See, already that's looking better, and we haven't even done much. And we're gonna use that delete face, see if we can just delete these. It might not work. It might. It did not. So we're gonna do that in a different way. Let's give it one more try just to see what happens. Whew, excuse me. Alright. So we did that. And now we're going to delete. Oh, there we go. I'm smarter than the machine. Look at that. Okay, look at that there. Sweet. And then, yeah. So these fillets were kind of overlapping a little bit, and I want to keep a smooth surface, even like with these tiny little things. Like this arc length is 0.02 inches, but like you always want to make sure that everything is as smooth as possible. Yeah. And it's gonna forget some things because I modified stuff, and Solidworks has the memory of a 80-year-old woman. Oh. I forgot. These have to be on all 3 spokes. See, yeah, that just looks way better. Let's see, what else were we going to add? Oh. I want to just add a little chamfer. Oh, I can just, wow. Just do it all with one click. Just knock those edges down a tiny bit. Don't want anyone cutting their fingies when they're putting the lugs on. Yeah, I like the way they are looking. I don't... I'm like... What do we even do from here? At this point, I'm kind of just... doing... tiny little things. That's 45 degree. Oh yes. And this is more just to make things easier for people machining and assembling this, because doing a chamfer is always going to be more simple than doing a fillet, because this requires like a specific tool for that radius of fillet, whereas you could just use just any kind of 45-degree chamfer tool to do that chamfer. And I don't know how much stuff they do on the backside. Like I was telling Zerg before, they don't like to do anything from the back side of the wheel, other than these pocketing cuts. Right here, they're just for weight savings. And you can see this is like really tall, but what this allows for is this can be milled back down to like, down to even like down to here, or maybe even past that, to change the offsets of the wheels. So like, you can see here's the wheel, here's the side profile. Right now, just visually, like that is like near a 0 offset wheel. And if they wanted to keep the same kind of lip and barrel size, but wanted to change the offset, they could just cut into this back base up to even, like, you can't go all the way up to the chamfer there where the lugs seat, but you could get pretty close, and just mill the back away to change the offsets to fine-tune the fitment of the wheels on the whoever's car is buying the wheels. Yeah. Yep. Okay. These are always right now, and I'm like near the end here, or like maybe some improvements could be made, but I don't know. They're getting close to done. I have the render open on my like second screen. I'm just looking at. And that went quickly, yeah. So already you can see just that slight change. Now these two curves match each other far better and create like a more natural kind of shape here. I'm wondering if I can modify this variable radius fillet to have a more linear change in the curve. I don't really know why Solidworks seems to do this a lot with their variable fillets, where it kind of like has this little bulge. Oh, there we go. Smooth transition, straight transition. Look at that. I can read. Boom. Damn, look at me. Learning new things every day. Now I'm wondering what some of those changes could look like. Let's see. This fillet looks fine like it is. These ones look fine. I think these look good because this is a curved edge. I think that like smooth transition setting will look a lot better than the straight transition. But since this is a straight line, like that looks way better. Just that one tiny change. So another thing we could do is make some like exposed lug nuts. Could be interesting. So that's something we'll make. We'll make a version with exposed hardware on the top. I don't want to show all of the hardware because it would just be like super busy on the side here, but we could definitely have some of them visible. I might mess with this a tiny bit. Another thing that could be done. So it looks like there's room. So you could see this only works on like very specific wheel offsets. But you could see that we have room to bring these points out past the rest of the wheel. And it looks like there is room on the forging to do that. And that would only work on like this specific lip size, which I think is 4-inch lip. But it would be cool to show off and see how that looks. So let's try it out. It's gonna require adjusting a bunch of crap again, but we like adjusting crap. Fusion 360 has this cool thing where you can just like extend. You could just grab something and kind of extend it. And I could just grab this and just like pull that out. And I wonder if SolidWorks has like that. Bear with me, I'm just kind of... It's like, I'd love to be able to try this out, but like, I don't want to... Just gonna send it. Who's that from? I think that's like... I want to say it's like that Canadian guy that was like fixing up all these like really crappy old snowmobiles. and he was like going making these like insane jumps on these snowmobiles, and it was just like hitting these jumps in like a Canadian tuxedo on like a 70 or like on like a 80s snowmobile, and just like absolutely wrecking his shit. We just say, just gonna send it, and just like launch himself. And there's a video of him like heating up day old pizza on like the engine block of a snowmobile, which is pretty dang cool actually. Okay, so the answer is no. Yeah. I wanna watch some of those videos again. I feel like that makes snowmobiles look so cool when in fact like they are really cool, but I feel like they're just incredibly dangerous things to be riding around if you're not like really good in the snow. See, yeah, that's so annoying. See, yeah, Solidworks is. Yeah, I've never been to Canada. I want to go to Canada. Canada seems like a lot of fun. Alright, there's got to be a way to just like degen this. Is that a term? Alright. I'm determined to do this in like a manner. So I'm gonna end up doing more work. But sometimes it's like it's worth it to try and do things a different way, because just see how we can figure it out. Yeah, we're doing some dumb shit now. I'd say I'm pretty professional. I've been doing this for like 10 years. About as professional as a wheel designer could be at this. I don't know if there's. But I appreciate the compliment. What in the fuck? SolidWorks just requires you to just like fuck around, unfortunately. Otherwise, you don't learn nothing. Why is he doing that? Why does it have to be so aggressive about, like, just go along the thing? God damn, brother. Okay. Is he? Yeah, this is getting stupid. All right, we're gonna not do that this way. That's the end. There's gotta be a cheesy way to do this without having to like put in the effort of redrawing the sketch. scale 1.1. Oh, that was fucking horrific. Alright, you know what? We're just gonna redo this sketch. I'm gonna do that. And it's gonna be a lot easier and quicker. I wanted to be cool and do something fun, different. Somewhere else. Okay. Oh. Jesus Christ. Alright. So we can't put this too much farther out than the forging that the manufacturer can give us. So we're gonna convert that because this is the edge of the forging like piece of metal that I have to work with when I send this to manufacturing. So we're gonna bring it out to like right there. 0.1 inches. 0.075. That was the distance I'm allowed. Then this looks like dog shit, so we're gonna change that. Sweet. Okay. Then we gotta adjust that cut. So that includes this. Also, that someone on the internet can call this feature or something. Okay. Why is it not moving? Something is locking this in place. There it is. Wow. Wow. There we go. Alright, so let's see. I think I'm gonna need to thicken that up, but... So, I mean, the grand scheme of things, that's probably not even worth it, because it's, like, almost not even visible. Oh, so I'm trying to figure out why this is so rounded looking. is whatever. Let's see how that looks. Yes, you can see the little kind of riser there going actually like past the this surface and like kind of setting out onto that step there. I think that's pretty sweet. We're gonna keep that. And then if people, I'd have to make a second version for people that want like a deeper lip on the outside. But that's pretty sweet. I don't know. We're gonna use Space Mouse. Shape. Let's deal with these errors here. So, on that line. Oh, that was that little. Okay. Don't need that anymore. Bam. There we go. Yeah, I wish the forging was bigger so that these could stick even farther out and kind of like come out to here and kind of make it more obvious that they're going past the shape of the wheel, but that's about as far as we can go with the forged blanks that we're using. Let's bring that chamfer in a bit more, actually. Make it more obvious that this is a sloped face. Yeah, there we go. Thank you. I'm glad you liked the design. I'm really psyched about where this is going. We'll have to talk to Zerg, the client, and see if he's psyched on this direction. Because his original idea, you could see the mood board I made based on my client's thoughts on what he wanted. And I kind of just like took it and ran with it. So it might end up that he wants me to do something completely different. But at the moment, I am pretty psyched on how these look. I'm gonna take those off, and we're going to put some hardware on these wheels. I'm trying to remember. Alright, I gotta go to this file and see what the diameter of the bolt circle is, so I know where to put the holes. So they have to match up. 16.58-inch diameter. Changes. 16.58. And the standard amount of hardware for wheels is in this modern era is 40, and the problem with that is I don't know if we're gonna be able to show hardware with a 3-spoke wheel because 40 is not divisible by 3. So whatever we do, it's gonna be not even. So I'm just thinking about that right now. And I don't think that they can have any less than 40 holes on them. So, yep, visible hardware is not possible. So just kidding, we're not doing that. But we can at least maybe mess with this outer circle a bit. So let's see, I actually do want my brand name on like if the wheel is like straight up and down, like obviously it's going to be spinning, but if this is the top of the wheel, this is the top lug nut, this is the top spoke, I do want my brand name to be right side up. So do that there. Might add text around the other areas here. What should it say on the wheel? Just make sure the font settings are the same. They are. Yeah, that's the problem. It's like I kind of do need 3 text things, because if I leave one of them out, it's kind of boring, or it'll look out of place there. So I gotta think of one other thing to say without it being like too tacky. Um, let's see. Alright, so looks like Roman numerals for 2026 is that. And this stuff will probably change, but I just need something on there so you guys aren't just watching me zone out and try and think of silly text to put on these. Oh, that's not the right font. Orbitron, bold. And I like to use this font a lot because it's easy to read. The one issue is like the D's are pretty close to O's. But other than that, like the rectangular nature of the font, and it's just bold and readable. So I use that for most of my wheels. I've been using this font for like the text on my wheels for many years. Alright, so we got text on the wheel. I wish we could put some hardware on the outside, but we cannot. The other thing that I was talking to Zerg about was possibly putting a lug cover. It covers up the lug nuts. So we could work on that now and see how that ends up. Wondering if it kind of set into these kind of pockets here. Problem is I'm just thinking about how tall the lug nuts will be sticking out of here, and how much room we have, or how little room we have for that cover. But let's make some anyways. Save. Always save, always. And I'm just gonna make a chunk. Like a bunch of it is gonna be kind of arbitrary at the moment, but okay. And I do kind of want this thing to like maybe create kind of like a throwing star, kind of create 3 new spokes that kind of float. I think that could be really cool. But I want to make this like center piece first. I'm just gonna kind of block out the shape and see what it looks like. I think first. Oops, sorry. All right. All right. I haven't been trying ridiculous ideas on the fly. No idea what I'm doing here. think I'm gonna have to think up some sketches. Do some sketching on figuring out how I want to do this. It's like I want it to be kind of retro a bit, with like the kind of similar to the like throwing stars on like the 100 spoke knockoff wheels. So maybe let's pull up let's see what that looks like. Yeah, something like this kind of. Wow, why is that $333 each? That's impressive. Yeah, something, I don't know, kind of like this for the center piece. We're gonna see. There we go. Let's see what the side of this thing looks like. Hmm. Yeah. Okay. So all it has to do is cover the actual lug nuts. So like we'll need some cutouts for lug nuts. Back at those spinner looking things. Too big. Too big. Yeah, it just looks like a giant blob when I do it like that. So that could work. It's gonna be a bit awkward because I don't really want that gap there, but also there has to be room for the lug nuts themselves. Alright. Oh, we need a center line for this to revolve around. That's what I was thinking in the beginning, is like making the center cap like follow this shape, and maybe kind of like let me just hide this thing first. And maybe kind of like nestle into these little areas right here, so that kind of like sits in here. I think the one issue is like, because you can see like this form like swoops way down, and then here's the lug hole right here, so there's like very little, like that's, well, we can even measure that. Like that's like less than half an inch between there, and like there needs to be room for lug nuts to like stick up and out. Like I could push this farther down, but then that limits what wheel offsets are possible. But like I think with this, if we're doing the center cap, I think that I would have to do that, bring these down. But it's hard to make it follow this form because of like how three-dimensional this form actually is. But I do think in the end I would like it to do that. I just wanted to kind of get some sort of shape in there first, and just kind of start getting my idea on here before I start trying to do some of the more complex things. But I do, yeah, you are right. I think making it follow the like Dorito shape would be for the best. Yeah, it does look like a Dorito or like a rotor, like from a rotary car. I feel like it has that kind of like rotary engine rotor shape. Actually, wait, we have to leave this construction. Right now, I am just cutting out one of the. Throwing star pieces. Ooh, that's way chunkier than I wanted. Did a set of wheels that had these similar kind of like center knockoff pieces while ago when I was working at this machine shop. I might see if I have any of those renders to pull up to kind of get inspiration from. No. What is it, like Big Creek Restoration? Yeah. Alright, so I modeled some wheels for a car that these people built that have a similar. These are some like old. Yep, these are the wheels. Yep. So I didn't design these wheels. They were designed by this guy who does all these like cool sketches. I modeled these wheels too. It's a bunch of like good old boy, like scared of cities type dudes. Not good pictures of the wheels. I tell you what, there's this one really low quality one. But I like how the little throwing stars look on there. Yeah, this is a place I used to work at. It's a nightmare to get out there. It's like an hour drive each direction. And then the dude made me like clock out for lunch. They are constantly hiring and oh, this is great. I did this awesome wheel design and render, and then the dude like misspelled dedicated. Wait, misspelled something on one of them. Where's the one he misspelled? Oh, he must have deleted the post. That's funny. Yeah, he did one where it was like misspelled, but he deleted that post. It's funny. Anywho, yeah, I was hoping you'd have more pictures of those kind of knockoff center beats. Oh, here they are. Yeah, constantly hiring. If you want to get insanely underpaid and be expected to be the best surface modeler in the in the known universe. Go work for that dude. Get to work on cool projects, I will say, but don't expect to get any health care or any of that. There's enough slandering boomers. Okay. That's pretty. I mean, it's just to kind of get an idea of the form. Obviously, it's like real rudimentary in terms of like the actual shape, but I think that could be really cool. It'd have to be like done in a less retro looking thing. So like I was looking at all those retro wheels for inspiration, but with all these like really kind of modern forms making up the rest of the wheel, having like a very clearly like retro center lock knockoff wheel thing in the middle, I think that would just look out of place in the end. Probably like making it follow the shape of the Dorito, as J-Town said, would help bring this into like the 21st century. And then also I think, ooh, you know what? I could bring some of these these shapes in to these possibly. They could possibly be like a mini version of this main spoke. But then this outer thing could be just like a triangular shaped cutout that you could see through. That could be pretty cool. I think that's... That's what we're going to do. Just gotta think of how to do that. It's like, how are these... the sloped kind of spokes gonna like interact with this centerpiece? Oh man, why am I sleepy today? It's like if this could be kind of like a three-pointed, or yeah, okay. Oh, I don't know if my brain is prepared for thinking about how to create this, but just sketch here. All right, let's do something weird. Alright, I'm gonna do this with like really simple shapes just to see if it's possible. No, dude. Point. Point there. Point there. Point there. Alright, so we're making another plane, reference plane on in between the spokes right there. We're going to draw a sketch on that plane. No, other way, please. That's good enough, I guess. Okay. 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 Make sure these lines are on the same plane. They are not. Where is that even attached to? Bro. I might be too stupid to do this right now. Why are these? Oh, what? Alright, we're not doing that. Goodbye. So what I'm trying to do is create kind of like a gemstone shape three-pointed, but with curved surfaces that follows this Dorito shape. There's gotta be a simpler way of doing that. Alright, I'm just gonna try it out. Try it out. Okay, just don't. Trying to create one edge of the Dorito. Holy shit, stop doing that. I know the title said not getting mad at Solidworks, but I think we're getting mad at Solidworks today. Sure. Stop. Okay. I am just gonna make a test shape and see about ways to make that kind of faceted shape. I'm gonna go from simple to more complicated and hope that we can stick simple. Alright, we can just delete that center shape. Alright. It's possible to do it that way. issue is this faceted kind of thing needs to follow this like extreme dip that the outside has. Otherwise, we have this just like flat wall there. And that's going to require a much more complicated something. So I guess if we've got those like throwing star pieces coming out, jutting out of the edge, maybe it won't matter that there's this flat wall there. It's gonna hate if I try to do all the time. Oh, okay. Not pissed at me yet. That one did it. I didn't like that one. All right. Do that. All right. Alright, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna fill it this, then we're going to. I don't know why I'm getting distracted doing this right now. Bro, just get on it. Thank you. Wow, there we go. There's something. Tell you, we got another Russian spam bot. Making it big now. Okay, let's add on. other shapes. Let's see. Just gonna save this. Yeah, that. All right, let's see. On Twitch, I have like the multi-chat up on OBS, and on Twitch I got some, occasionally get these comments from these like Russian spam bots that are like trying to sell me viewers or something. So now kind of deciding how far out I want the kind of throwing star spokes to go. We don't want them to go too far out because the bigger the center cap is, one, the heavier it is, but also like the more expensive it is gonna be. So we need to keep our design within at least a little bit of reality. Honestly, I'm not sure like who's really gonna be shelling out for the center lug cover. This is more of just like a silly thing, because the reality of it is, if you wanted these center lug covers for your wheels, you'd be paying like another like $2,000 for your set of wheels, probably. All right, we're just gonna I mean, yeah, for these center lug covers, because I mean, honest, the industry these days is not how it used to be. So like, even just to buy, like, so these are going to be like 19-inch wheels, how they're designed now. So let's see, you buy them without the center lug covers, like just like let's say you just buy these wheels like this with just the regular center cap, 19-inch by 10, and you get a whole full set. That's gonna be around $7,000 for the set. Just like this. Maybe a bit less, because like my last set of wheels I did was titanium hardware, which is a bit more expensive. And I think, and maybe just like powder coating them gray or white would be cheaper. But let's say like $6,000 to $7,000 for the set of wheels, and that's like assuming that I'm not taking much of a cut, if any, for like profit. If I was taking profit, it'd be like, or like lots of profit, it'd be, $8,000 for set of wheels. But these days I mean, I'm doing this more for the love of the game than for like, I'm not gonna get rich off doing wheel design anytime soon. So let's say you get the set of wheels for $7,000, adding on this like center lug cover, that's 4 more pieces of aluminum that they have to mount in the CNC machine, program the CNC machine, and mount in the CNC lathe possibly. It would be $2,000 for at least for the extra center caps. Unfortunately, like, custom machining is insanely expensive. Like, when I was working at that machine shop, these hot rod builds, like these super high-end hot rod builds, cost like 500 to like multiple millions of dollars to build, because like each of these little parts is being machined. It was being designed by someone like me, and then machined, and then chromed, or finished. Like, it's just like an obscenely expensive industry. But like, all these dudes are like oil barons, and I guess they're like, gotta spend all my money so that my son gets nothing. I don't know. Just being an asshole now. So we have an inner sketch for this. Yeah, I mean, if you've got the money for it, or if the customer's got the money for it, like, being able to have like custom like one-of-one wheels is like pretty fucking awesome. Like, very few people are able to have that, and like, if you're like at a car show or even just like out and about, like, having like one-of-one wheels is something that very few people have, which is makes it pretty awesome. Like, we haven't gotten these on the car yet, but these are some ones that we just got in from the factory a couple weeks ago. And you can see it still has the like protective plastic around the outside. And we don't have tires on them yet, but these are like one-of-one. Like, there's never going to be another set of these made. And that's just super awesome to be able to have. This is on like a show car here in Denver, and like, this car is going to look super cool, and like no other car on the planet will ever have these wheels. So for a show car, that's like the highest tier. What's happening? Still getting used to like doing these like complex modeling things while on stream. It's like, it's hard to do stuff like this and like do all this stuff at one time. So this is just a test, just to see if it's possible and how it's gonna look. That's pretty sweet there. I do want these not to come out of the middle of this center area. And this is called a loft. And it basically like converts like it like kind of creates a shape by two drawings, by creating two drawings, and then just so you can see like here's one drawing and then the other one's in here, and then it creates this shape. And then I created that curve thing to create this guide curve so that that form is curved. And that's how I made these cuts, these complex like surface cuts on the spokes. And I'm trying to imitate these spokes with this, and so that's why I'm doing these in the same way. I'm gonna bring that even farther down. There we go. I think I want them to be a little bit point. Ooh. Had another thought. Alright, while we're here, let's get rid of this other thing that I had. So that idea is donezo. And I'll probably have to come in like later, and I think before next stream, like make a plan for redoing this. No, 2 inches. What? 2 is way too much. But we're just gonna these are gonna be silly, basically, until I come in and redo them. But I want to see at least like what this idea is gonna look like before I start taking a bunch of time to engineer it. No, just do it. Software needs like so much fucking encouragement all the time. Just do it the first time. Okay. And then we want to make that triangle shape on the end. Vertical. Swing. Oh, that's still it's 2 pieces. There we go. So that kind of mirrors the shape of the spokes a bit. Again, this is just kind of like a rough fuck around thing to see. Why is it like that? Bruh. So sad. There we go. Bruh. The whole shape. Oh my lord. Just do the whole shape. There we go. And again, I am doing this all in like a really rough kind of sketch manner because I'm just kind of coming up with ideas for how things could look. And I had this idea of having the triangle part being larger. And I want to see what that looked like. So I'm just gonna do this and see what it looks like. I feel like that looks like a bottle opener. That's probably too ridiculous. And then we want to do this same fancy fillet on here. Mirror the spoke. Never works. Ooh. Ooh, that's cool. Okay, kind of ridiculous looking, but I'm just kind of flying by the seat of my pants here. Yeah, so that's kind of my thought-ish for how it could look. I don't know. I think it is a bit silly. I don't really like it. um, but it's kind of fun. I'm gonna get rid of it. We'll save it there. Just as a thought to come back to. Do want to do another render of this the way it is. Yeah, that's good. Okay. This is still the version 2. All right. We're gonna start with the landscape one first. Bruh. Okay. Width 1200. 1200. Let's do it. I did really like the kind of light gray wheel I had last time, so I am gonna do that again. But I think I want like a really bright colored background so that the wheel is kind of simple and but then the rest of the wheel is, or the rest of like the background is like really pop. Oh, and I apologize if this stream is less exciting than the one yesterday. It's kind of developing a bit of a headache. I'm trying to push through and get stuff done. Alright, so I'm going to put a background ramp in here. Have it huge! That's a big bitch. Alright. I wonder if we could work that like reflection into the image somehow. Thanks, buddy. Glad you like them. I'm gonna figure out like just how I want to do this scene. Oh, that's just the arrow. That's wild. Okay, so we have wheels, bright color background. Let's bring in some lights. Do the same thing I always do. Bring in a couple discs, which I use. So these are basically replicating. I'll bring it up on internet. So these are essentially replicating oh wow, I just remade this scene accidentally. Just essentially replicating these big soft boxes, which is a really bright bulb inside, but then it has like basically a piece of white cloth over the front, and that diffuses the light so that it's like soft light, so you don't get like really hard shadows. And a lot of studios, yeah, you could see every one of these studio lighting setups is soft boxes, like softbox, bam, softbox, bam, softbox. So that's like pretty much like this big giant softbox up there, softbox. Pretty much the standard for these are cool, these glob shaped ones. Yeah, pretty much the standard for studio lighting. And I just make them this way. Because now when we get rid of the background environment and just only let it be lit by that softbox, there. And you notice a lot of those had multiple softboxes. So we're gonna add another one in. Kind of even out the lighting. I do want this one to be a lot brighter though. Then, yeah, see, then we can see like those faceted shapes there better. And the cool thing about doing this in a rendering environment instead of in real life is I can make these softboxes invisible to the camera, and also I can make them invisible in reflections. So like in real life, you wouldn't really be able to put that thing like right there. I wonder if that messes with the reflections. Yeah, that does mess. Okay, so we do want it visible in the reflections because that's making it visible in the reflections on the object itself. So we do have that one down there in the corner. We're going to move that way. There. And that's pretty sweet. We can see all the intricate little shapes really well. Do kind of mess with this a bit. The blue is better. I like that a lot right there. Save that camera. Let's see, no, 50 millimeters good for the lens. And like basically, ooh, hello. Basically, you do this as if you were using a camera. You can see on the right here, like I can choose the focal length of the lens. And then even the depth of field. I always make the depth of field like focused on the logo. I feel like that's like good practice as like a product designer, especially if you're going to be doing renders for a company. Like they're always going to want to make sure their logo's visible. But I like to have it look realistic and have like this blur effect on there. You can see like these areas that are closer to the camera are blurry. This is super sharp, and then it starts to blur out in the background as well, and that just makes it look more realistic. Anything we could do to like trick the eye into thinking this is a photo, not a render. You really didn't do much since yesterday's stream in terms of this. Now I'm looking at it, but I was having an off day in terms of creativity, so still getting used to streaming every day and like doing this every day. So like I feel like my brain needs to get used to doing this. If you didn't see last stream, what I'm doing is I'm adding essentially like particles for the light to refract off of in between the subject and the lens. And that will kind of just that's cool. I like that. And that will just make it again just look more like a photo because there are these particles, because like even though you don't see them, there's always like particles in space. And if you're rendering something, you're not gonna like if unless you tell it to, it's essentially there's going to be absolutely nothing in between the lights and your object and the lens of the camera, quote unquote. And so if you add in these particles, it adds, it's a very subtle effect, but it again just like adds that little bit of realism. Also, there's like you can kind of control the colors a bit of the image in like a new and different way. I'm not sure why it's adding these like weird splotches, but I can get rid of those in Photoshop. Really strange, actually. Oh, I think, let's see. Interesting. Oops. Yeah, I've not seen that before. It's I don't know. It's like weird green splotchy artifact. Very strange. I wonder if that's because I have like a bright colored smoke. Although I do wish that these bottom spokes had some more illumination like this top one. So I might mess with the lighting and see. Maybe we add a spotlight. That is way too bright. It's probably not the way to do this. weird. How do we illuminate these spokes better? Instead, alright, so we have one angling at it from this direction. Let's move that. Make it visible to the camera again. Okay, so yeah, moving that, it's gonna illuminate this surface more. So let's bring that farther over this way. Always want it angling like right at the thing. That looks good, but it's almost like flattened out the lighting. Alright, just like this. What if we make the second one? So I like where the first one is. Make the second. There we go. That's pretty good. There we go. Now we're getting like more varied light on there. You want to change? Alright, let's do a render of this and see what it looks like, and then I might go take some ibuprofen. Stop staring at the screen. Alright, so it's gonna render, it's gonna take a while because it has to render all those little particles as light refracts off of them. And you can see all those little like green dots. As far as I know, that's like kind of just errors in like how it's processing the light information. And at the very end of the render, it does a denoise pass that gets rid of all those. So right now it looks like it's like covered in green dots and it looks terrible. But all that gets removed at the end when the denoise pass goes through. do really like the improvements on this fillet, the like way that goes. I want to add more shape into this thing again. I know I did some already, but I still want to change that possibly. Some days you get like lots of progress, and some days you don't get a lot. So I feel like recording and sharing all of this kind of exposes that side of being a creative. Like yesterday, I was so pumped that I, created all this stuff, like essentially did everything, and then today kind of did a couple of things, and then kind of tootled around with this center lug cover, but really didn't get anywhere with that. But that's just kind of how it goes. Like sometimes you are on it and sometimes you're not. I wish that I could just be like a creative genius 100% of the time, but I don't know if anyone is that. Yeah, so you can see, boom, at the end, all those little green dots disappeared, and we have this like pristine render. I like how these look in this kind of like really light gray, non-metallic color. I'd be curious to see like how that would look in real life. I don't know, I think that could be really cool. So it makes them almost look like plastic. And like, I don't know, having like not metallic at all, kind of just like gloss, light gray wheels. I don't know, I think it's really cool. Oh, thank you, J-Town, for sticking around and watching the process. I appreciate the comments and everything. Glad you like where the wheels are. Trying to do these streams Monday through Thursday from like during the afternoon for like around 3 hours every day, like 1 p.m. Mountain Time to around 4 p.m. Mountain Time. Not sure what that is, other time zones, but at the moment we're just working on these wheels, but I do have a couple other really cool projects. I guess I'll hype that right now. I have some camera related projects. I'm just gonna switch the face cam here in a second. Just gonna grab some junk. So I know I do the car stuff right now, but I do have a couple like cool camera related stuff. I have this really old camera this is like a 60s press camera. So like back in the 60s, this was like a small portable camera. And I had made so this is the bottom half of a Polaroid camera, and this attaches onto here, and this was something I had previously designed, and so this makes it so that this thing can take Polaroid photos. But I partnered with this company that I'll go into talking about that sent me this thing, and this basically develops Fujifilm Instax film with a little crank. And this makes it so that I can use Fuji Instax Wide, which is kind of like a wide frame, similar to Polaroid, but just by Fujifilm. And so I'm gonna model a way to mount this to the back of here, so that this will be an Instax instant camera, eventually. So that's gonna be the next big project, is that. I also have like this old camera here, just like a TLR. You look through, let's see, where's the camera? You look through the top. You can kind of see, let's see the lens. Yeah, you look through the top. Anyways, but I have another taken apart Instax camera here. And so this one will eventually get turned into a battery operated instant camera. And that's going to be, so there'll be two kind of like vintage camera related projects coming up. It's not wheels, it's not car related, but I think it would be really cool. Because like, this is basically unusable right now because it's designed to use this like old sheet film, which is like a single sheet of film, and you take one photo and then you pull that off and then you stick another one on, and then you have to develop each photo independently. And you need a dark room and all this stuff. But once this is done, then like anyone can take this and like take photos, and it will just be like essentially just like a Polaroid camera that anyone could use, and I think that'll be really fun. I'm trying to think of other design projects to do in the future. I'll definitely be doing more wheels for sure. So that's kind of like my bread and butter. But I want to do some camera related stuff. My friend Max is like a really avid fisher, and he does like some ice fishing, and he wants me to design some things for fishing, which could be fun. I'll need to talk to him and see like what he actually wants. But I'm gonna kind of 3D print some stuff and do some more kind of like designing and making things. I need a better camera before I start doing that stuff. But yeah, so far just wheels, but eventually designing more stuff, and hopefully more people will start watching and I can design more cool stuff. I will be back tomorrow at like 1 p.m. On Twitch and on YouTube. Thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you guys